The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This segment is going to be short because I spent so much time in the first segment with Dr. Fauci. I want to mention one other thing. There's an episode of Katz Roundtable that is with John Catsimatidis. It's on podcast, and one can find it from January 26th in the year 2020. On that podcast, Dr. Katz Roundtable, January 26, 2020, Dr. Fauci is saying COVID was nothing to worry about. America's doctor, Dr. Miklos, is saying, warning people, we were headed into pandemic territory. Who was right? Dr. Miklos, of course, because it turned out to be a pandemic. But what everybody has, I think, because time has passed, and what we do is we block a lot of things out of our memories. Folks, the pain and suffering that the world went through, people losing their parents, unable to bury them, unable to see them, people being, the entire world was suffering from this disease that they told us had natural origins, when in fact, man-made origins. All lies. It's time for answers.
In his private journals, he has some very unkind things to say about you. He disagreed with your approach, was different than his.
Because he wanted to close everything down, and I didn't.
Absolutely. But given what you know now...
Had I taken his advice, the whole country would have been closed down, and much of the country was open because I didn't close it down. What I did do, though, is with Operation Warp Speed, is we got things done that nobody's ever seen in terms of all of the gear necessary, and we learned that the cupboards were bare. You know, when I took over, we had none of this. We didn't have the ventilators.
I know.
We didn't have anything. We ended up becoming the number one ventilator producer, and we were supplying ventilators to other countries by the time we got going, and we did a great job. No, but I was not a believer, because he said everybody has to wear a mask. Then he said, don't wear a mask. You remember, it was a whole thing. Wear them, don't wear them. I said, what are you doing? He started off saying don't wear them. Then he said wear them. Then he said don't wear them. And I lost a lot of respect for him during the period of time.
Right.
But I inherited him. He's been there since the 1980s. I mean, he was a guy that was there that I inherited. And with time, I didn't mind him. I didn't find him to be bad, personally as a person. But I didn't agree with what he was saying or what he was doing. And when Biden came in, he inherited him, and he gave him a tremendously high position.
Oh, my goodness, folks. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. In 2004, on this day, George Williams of The Times passed away. 1963. This was up there in the charts. Huge million seller for The Times. Still such a... I never get tired of hearing this song. Takes you back to a kinder day, at least in your mind. The Times. So in love. James Golden, Snerdley with you. That Donald Trump, of course. I'm look, this Fauci thing, we're going to have plenty to do tomorrow with it. But I'm going to say again, this is the biggest scandal in human history. And there are a lot of people that profited greatly off what happened. And there have been a lot of lies told to the world. And no one has been accountable for the millions of deaths and the horrid damage to the economy worldwide from this man-made disease. Now, Carlos, you played something. Just play just a little bit of that new Secret song, just a little bit more, because you had the strangest look on your face when I referenced this. This. I said, when I was talking about, no, this is not a Coca-Cola commercial, and you looked puzzled. This song was one of the first pop songs that turned, it was a pop song, popular song, pop top 40 song. But this song became the global Coca-Cola ad in the year or two after it was made. Coca-Cola had a whole ad campaign around this. Have a Coke and a smile. Have a Coke and a smile. I'd like to do the whole thing, and this was huge. So even to this day, all these decades later, power of advertising, when I hear this song, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is Coke, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. So that's why I said that. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Let's go. We talked about a few things yesterday. I want to quickly cover. HOCO grants New York students unenrolled. I just love this new term. Unenrolled from Howard SUNY or CUNY admission. Every time I see CUNY, C-U-N-Y, my brain just thinks of something else that I'd rather not say. Anyway, New York students who were abruptly unenrolled from Howard University just weeks before the first day of school will be guaranteed admission to SUNY or CUNY, announced Governor Hochul. Each student also gets an $800 credit to offset their non-refundable deposits and out. So we're giving away, New York is going to give away money to attract students that haven't paid their bills at the last school they went to. And she's giving them money so that they can bring their debt over to New York, because if they couldn't pay their bills at Howard, how are they going to pay their bills in New York? Howard, Washington, of course, in Washington, D.C. This is just, it's pandering beyond belief. So you taxpayers in New York, you're getting ready to fund other people who can't pay their bills. And Kathy Hochul wants you to pay their bills for them and give them credit for not paying their bills. Now, we talked about Seattle yesterday. Let's go to cut one very quickly. Cut one, Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson.
Shortly after 6 p.m. last night, officers responded to the sound of gunfire. They were assigned to support Fight of Seattle and were on scene within seconds and took one suspect into custody. No police weapons were discharged. We believe that 2 people exchanged gunfire outside the Seattle Center Armory. 7 victims were caught in the crossfire, with a possible 8th. And again, Chief Scoggins will be providing more detail about the victims after my remarks. A 19-year-old man, a 44-year-old man, and a 56-year-old woman were killed. 2 died at the scene, and a 3rd passed away at Harborview Medical Center. Official identification will come from the King County Medical Examiner's Office. The Seattle Police Department detained...
Let's just stop there. A teenager, and they show him during the perp walk, a teenager, has 15 years old. The police, they had to take questions from the media. Cut 2. I just want to give you a taste of what the questions that came in from the media are.
There was no direction from Governor Ferguson's office or from Miller Dapol's office to wait to do the press conference until they got to
As soon as we coordinated with SPD and agreed that it was time to talk to the media, as soon as we knew that we were going to be doing that, I and Governor Ferguson and Congresswoman Jayapal arrived on the scene within minutes.
So you can say his office unequivocally did not tell you to wait?
No, absolutely not.
What was the delay in the basics, the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s of what happened? You had people running, you had people shot on the ground with bullet holes in their backs, covered in white sheets, and we are sitting here waiting. And the only thing that we had was a tweet and people who were afraid and a lot of information on social media filling the vacuum. So why is it that citizens in the city of Seattle had to wait for almost 5 hours to get answers about something so serious that's made national headlines?
Yeah, I mean, my office put out a statement at 8:30, which again included an initial inaccuracy. So again, this speaks to the tension between providing information early and providing it accurately. So we, along with SPD, were trying to manage that tension, and we got information out to you all as soon as we possibly could.
Okay, I think that's
now let me tell you part of the problem here. 5 hours later, people in Seattle didn't know whether they should stay indoors, whether there was a gunman on the lake, didn't know anything. Because these people, this inept mayor, this inept socialist mayor has took 5 hours in her office to say anything. You have an event in Seattle, 3 people killed by a teenager. And by the way, big story in the Daily Mail today about the woke police chief. They don't want to say this was gang related. What they're saying, instead of gangs, they're using a phrase now, more language stuff, small groups of people. We understand a small group of people had shot with another small group of people. They're gangs. It was apparently a gang. This was believed to be a gang. I don't know whether that's accurate or not because we don't know what's accurate. But they're using the words to try to describe it instead of saying gangs, a small group of people. It woke business. The police chief was out of town. He is coming under fire. I have sound bites from him getting into it with the reporter, but I don't have time for that right now because there are other things in the news that I want to get to. Okay, let me just make it. Let's see. Yes. Okay, let us turn to this. Cut 9, ladies and gentlemen. You'll recognize the voice. And here we go.
This was a big meeting, the CIA and everyone on... It was,
Wake up. It's the sleeping one. Come on, wake up.
July meeting?
I don't know. It looks like it is. It says, it changed pens. So it's got to be after the 17th of June. And then it's a long meeting.
This is Joe Biden.
Where, DOD brief at DOD.
With his Ghostwriter.
Air Force 2, 2:30 p.m.
These are the tapes they wanted to keep away.
There was a big meeting down on the situation.
From everybody.
Some of this may be classified, so be careful with it.
Huh?
I'm not sure. It's not more classified, but I just found all the classified stuff downstairs. I wrote the president a handwritten 40-page memorandum.
Joe Biden on tape admitting he had classified documents in just some of this stuff, and he's giving it to a ghostwriter. Some of this stuff may be classified. Be careful. I just found a whole bunch of classified stuff downstairs. They didn't want these tapes released. Now, remember something. This is the same President Biden that sicked the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to raid Mar-a-Lago, to go through the underwear drawer of the former First Lady of the United States, to go into the residence of a president who has the power to classify or unclassify documents at his pleasure. So there was no case when Joe Biden sicked the FBI on a president of the United States looking for classified documents. Meanwhile, as vice president, he is admitting he had, as vice president, classified documents in his house and was sharing them with a ghostwriter. You're not going to hear the press. And by the way, the vice president cannot unclassify at his discretion documents like the president can. So there's no excuse that Joe Biden could offer that says he legitimately had classified documents in his possession, in his house, unlike the president, who has every right to have whatever documents he deems necessary. You're not seeing a lot about this in the media today either. You got Fauci, you got Biden, you got all this stuff going on. All of it's coming to roost. I'm telling you, these people are just, it's unbelievable. Cut 10, very quickly. This is something I want to discuss with Princess Di later this week if we have an opportunity.
I agree. Look, Joel gets it right. That's $129 million cash on hand that Republicans have right now.
The RNC.
Yeah. The DNC has $2 million in the red. That's unheard of for a party committee at this stage in a midterm election cycle.
Especially when the atmospherics are favorable.
Absolutely. And it's not just that. Like, a good party chair can get on the phone in an afternoon and erase that deficit. But Ken Martin, I feel bad for him at some level. His party is clearly undergoing some kind of civil war right now. The establishment side doesn't really have an affirmative message for what it's for. The ascendant faction is not where the donors are in any sense of the word.
Now, Democrats are tank, DNC, $2 million in the red. There was a huge article Princess Di shared with me from the New York Times, which she captioned in a text me. I can't believe the New York Times published this stuff, or it was the Washington Post. Either one makes the same paper, different names. DNC's hurting, and Republicans are poised to have an election coffer going into the midterms that far exceeds theirs right now. Now, we don't know. Democrat donors may respond to that, but this is an interesting situation politically that we have not seen. I got a long story from a long audio clip from CNN's Harry Enton talking about the polling that goes on with concerning Iran and Republicans and Democrats. Let's play some of it. Cut 17. May have to cut it short for time constraints because we do have the clip of the day coming up. So
you
listen
might
to this.
think that Democrats in Congress could see some kind of boost in the polls on this subject. You might think that, but you'd be wrong. With us this morning, CNN Chief Data Analyst.
Whatever, man.
I'm tongue-tied because actually these numbers surprise me. I was looking at them and I am surprised that they are like this. So who do the voters say they trust on Iran?
Johnny B. is not the only one who's surprised. You would be looking at all the news coverage. You'd be looking at all the polling of President Trump. And you would think that Democrats would be able to take advantage and be dominating Republicans when it comes to who is trusted to handle the Iran war. That, simply put, is not the case at all. I mean, these numbers are quite surprising. Trust Dems or Republicans on Iran. According to CNBC earlier this month, you'd think, okay, that's one poll. The Republicans trust by 2 points. But then CBS News comes out yesterday, and what do you see? You see the exact Same thing. Trump and the Republicans take the cake. They are trusted by 2 points on Iran. Now, one poll is one thing, but you put the two of them together, and you can see that the American people, simply put, are not buying what Democrats are selling on Iran. They still trust Republicans more, even if you look at President Trump's approval ratings on the subject, and they're negative too, but yet Republicans and Trump still more trusted than Democrats are on Iran.
Has there been any change?
Okay, now, we got to take a break. I want to mention one other story I wanted to get to today. Zoran Mondami is being sued, number one, for his city grocery store by immigrant groups of grocers. He's going to put them out of business. But also, Mondami's people in New York have doxed. They put together what the New York Post calls an enemies list of the rich, a database where people can search people who have property owners. And this is not just your ordinary search. They put together a searchable database that people can go in, and not all of these people are with this Pierre de tax. Pied de terre, or whatever they call it. Pierre de terre tax. Pierre de terre. It's an attack. It is this is insane. What is happening in New York right now is insanity. 1996, Marge Ganser passed away. She was with the Shangri-Las. You'll remember this. 1964, this went number one. Leader of the Pack. James Golden, Snerdley, clip of the day coming up. Keep it right here and do not go away.
The clip of the day. You you want to hear it. It's the clip of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, this clip will demonstrate to you why President Trump made the right choice. It is Senator John Cornyn from Texas as he's getting ready to enter into a car being questioned by a reporter on the SAVE Act.
I don't understand the rationale. I think it's basically we're over-promising and we're not going to be able to deliver on that promise because we don't have the votes to pass it no matter how long we stay, and we're not going to change the filibuster. So, but somehow the president's convinced that if he presses hard enough that we'll come around, and but I just don't think that's likely to happen.
Is he putting Thune in an impossible position here?
Well, I think, I wouldn't say impossible. They'll figure it out, but it's a very difficult position.
President Trump is putting John Thune, well, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's a hard position. Thune was on with Sean Hannity last night. We have clips of that, too, that we will hopefully have time to air for you. And then you have this guy, Cornyn, and Tom Tillis trying to block the nomination so far of the Attorney General, a general nominee, Todd Blanche, who's doing a terrific job. Unbelievable. Birthday today for Richard Wright keyboards and vocals with Pink Floyd. We got to go. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your families, and your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu.